Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mampolo from Mampolo's Corner. Renew your mindset. I am making this video to educate most of the Africans on how to hold their leaders, their political leaders to account. On how to hold their political leaders to account. I am going to make a reference to what is happening in the UK regarding our Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, and how the people who are in House of Parliament, that is House of Parliament member, like as we have in Nigeria, senators, as we have in Nigeria, House of Rep members, and how they are holding the Prime Minister, the number one political man in this country, how they are holding him to account. I am going to show you guys a video for you to realize and understand that there is nobody above the law in any country. Nobody is above the law. Your president shouldn't be above the law. Vice president, senate president, and all the rest of the political personnel, nobody should be above the law. Currently in the UK, Boris Johnson, who is our prime minister, number one political man in this country, in the UK, is facing what is called serious mess. He's in serious trouble. The way they are questioning him, the way they are asking him to resign, because what? He broke the law. You can't say the law and break it at the same time. Nobody is above the law. For those who do not know Boris Johnson, let me present him to you.
I'm not sure I can tweet any of this.
Radasha, now that they call Bojo, the number one political icon, United Kingdom now at present, now be our prime minister. You know, see how they enjoy. So if you see, you know, say na activity man want know what thing they do, they enjoy himself, they rock himself. So now this kind of enjoyment, now I put on for this trouble when they talk so. In the year 2020, when COVID started, COVID was very high that time. People were dying. That they carry people go bury a mass in United Kingdom. As at that time, then say he go they do party for number 10. He do party for number 10, like as when I get for Nigeria presidential villa, he do party there. Meanwhile, then saying they tell us today inside the house, remain at home. Don't visit even your brother, your sister from another door. Don't visit them. Don't visit anybody. Now he can't tell us, say, may we go they do. But then say, even during that time, when COVID day intense, he go they do party. he say, you don't even know say he there for the party. We're not gonna see the video very soon now. You don't know say he there for the party. So now, why am I making this video? I'm not making this video because of Boris Johnson. No. I'm not making this video because of UK Parliament. No. These people don't go far. If you misbehave in this country, they will hold you to account. They don't care who you are. They don't care. Nobody know anybody here. Everybody is equal when it comes to the law. That's why I'm making this video. Now I'm asking this question. You that is watching me from Africa, any African country of the world, are you able to hold your political leaders to account? So now they are asking him to resign for breaking the law. The law he said he made for the country. So they are now saying that so you are creating one law for yourself and creating another law for the common men. So you will be doing party while the common men will not go and visit even their sister, their brother, their mother, their fathers who are sick in the next door. And their relations are dying helpless because of the law and rules when you don't bring for the country, and we need to obey it. Now you are not obeying it. You are doing party. For those who do not understand what I'm trying to say, watch this video of holding to account.
Mr. Speaker, I want to apologise. I know that millions of people across this country have made extraordinary sacrifices over the last 18 months. I know the anguish that they have been through, unable to mourn their relatives, unable to live their lives as they want, or to do the things they love. And I know the rage they feel with me and with the government I lead when they think that in Downing Street itself the rules are not being properly followed by the people who make the rules. And though I cannot anticipate the conclusions of the current inquiry, I have learned enough to know that there were things we simply did not get right. And I must take responsibility. Number 10 is a big department with the garden as an extension of the office, which has been in constant use because of the role of fresh air in stopping the virus. And when I went into that garden just after 6 on the 20th of May 2020 to thank groups of staff before going back into my office 25 minutes later to continue working, I believed implicitly that this was a work event. But, Mr. Speaker, with hindsight, I should have sent everyone back inside. I should have found some other way to thank them. And I should have recognised that even if it could be said technically to fall within the guidance, there would be millions and millions of people who simply would not see it that way, people who suffered terribly, people who were forbidden from meeting loved ones at all, inside or outside. And to them and to this House, I offer my heartfelt apologies.
Well, there we have it. After months of deceit and deception, the pathetic spectacle of a man who's run out of road. His defence that he didn't realise he was at a party. It is so ridiculous that it's actually offensive to the British public. He's finally been forced to admit what everyone knew, that when the whole country was locked down, he was hosting boozy parties in Downing Street. Yes. Is he now going to do the decent thing and resign?
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I appreciate the point that he's making about the event that I attended. I want to repeat that I thought it was a work event, and Mr. Speaker, I regret very much that we did not do things differently that evening. And Mr. Speaker, as I've said, and I take responsibility and I apologise.
Keir Starmer.
Well, that apology was pretty worthless, wasn't it? Let me tell him why this matters.
Oh dear.
Yesterday in this chamber, honourable members told heart-wrenching stories about the sacrifices people across the country were making. This House and the whole country were moved by the honourable member for Strangford as he talked about his mother-in-law dying alone. He was following the rules, whilst the Prime Minister was partying in Downing Street. Is the Prime Minister really so contemptuous of the British public that he thinks he can just ride this out? Mr. Speaker, when the Prime Minister's former Health Secretary broke the rules, he resigned. Yes. And the Prime Minister said he was right to do so. When the Prime Minister's spokesperson laughed about the rules being broken, she resigned. And the Prime Minister accepted that resignation. Why does the Prime Minister still think that the rules don't apply to him?
Well, Mr. Speaker, that's not what I've said, and I understand the point that he makes. As I've said, Mr. Speaker, I regret the way things happened on the evening in question, and I apologise. But if I may say to him, I do think it would be better if he waited until the full conclusion of the inquiry, until the full facts are brought before this House, Mr. Speaker, and he will then have an opportunity to put his points again.
Keir Starmer.
This just isn't working, Prime Minister. No. Everyone can see what happened. Exactly. It started with reports of boozy parties in Downing Street during lockdown. The Prime Minister pretended that he had been assured there were no parties. Yeah. How that fits with his defence out, I do not know. Exactly. Then the video landed, blowing the Prime Minister's first defence out of the water. So then he pretended he was sickened and furious about the parties. Now it turns out he was at the parties all along. Can't the Prime Minister see why the British public think he's lying through his teeth? Mr. Speaker, so we've got the Prime Minister attending Downing Street parties a clear breach of the rules. We've got the Prime Minister putting forward a series of ridiculous denials which he knows are untrue. A clear breach of the ministerial code. That code says ministers who knowingly mislead Parliament will be expected to offer their resignation. The party's over, Prime Minister. The only question is, will the British public kick him out, will his party kick him out, or will he do the decent thing and resign? The Prime Minister's a man without shame. The public want answers to their questions. Hannah Brady's father, Sean, was just 55 when he lost his life to COVID. He was a fit and healthy key worker. I spoke to Hannah last night, Prime Minister. Her father died just days before the drinks trolley was being wheeled through Downing Street. And last year, Hannah met the Prime Minister in the Downing Street garden. She looked at the Prime Minister in the eye and told him of her loss. The Prime Minister told Hannah he'd done everything he could to protect her dad. Looking back, what Hannah told me last night was this. She realises that the Prime Minister had parted in that same garden the very day her dad's death certificate was signed. What Hannah wants to know is this. Does the Prime Minister understand why it makes her feel sick to think about the way that he's behaved?
Mr. Speaker, I sympathise deeply with Hannah, with people who have suffered up and down this country during the pandemic, and I repeat that I wish things had been done differently on that evening, Mr. Speaker, and I repeat my apology for all the misjudgments that may have been made, that were made on my watch in Number 10 and across the government. But I want to reassure the people of this country, including Hannah and her family, that, Mr. Speaker, we have been working to do everything we can to protect her and her family.
The Prime Minister stands before us accused of betraying the nation's trust, of treating the public with contempt, of breaking the laws set by his own government. A former member of Her Majesty's Armed Forces, Paul, wrote to me this morning. His father died without the love and support of his full family around him because they followed the regulations, Prime Minister. Paul said, as an ex-soldier, I know how to follow the rules, but the Prime Minister has never followed any rules. He does what he wants, and he gets away with it every time. The Prime Minister can't get away with it again. Will the Prime Minister finally do the decent thing and resign, or will his Tory MPs be forced to show him the door? It's an open and shut case. It's an event that should have taken place. It broke the law, Prime Minister. And what's so galling about that response is that the Prime Minister feels no shame for his actions. The public suffered pain and anguish at being kept apart from their families. All the while, the Prime Minister was drinking and laughing behind the walls of his private garden. The public overwhelmingly think that the Prime Minister should resign. Trust has been lost, and the public will not forgive or forget. If the Prime Minister has no sense of shame, then the Tory backbenchers must act to remove him. They know the damage is done. This weak and contentious Prime Minister can no longer limp on. The message from the public is clear. Remove this unfit Prime Minister from office and do it now.
If the Prime Minister was sincere, he could have apologised at any stage over the past 18 months, rather than waiting until he was found out. My constituents in North Down and people across the UK feel betrayed by the Prime Minister. We've had over 150,000 deaths from COVID over the past couple of years. We have seen standards in public life trashed. So for once, can the Prime Minister do the honourable thing and resign for the sake of the public health message and for standards in our democracy?
A week, another scandal for this Prime Minister and his utterly shameless government. For 2 years, my constituents made sacrifice after sacrifice, spending time away from our loved ones, missing out on important life events. Some paid the ultimate sacrifice, while he partied away. Figures released just last night show that 79% of people in Scotland think the Prime Minister should step down. Does the Prime Minister now realise that it's clear to all that, while he may not understand how to be socially distant from others, there is no doubt that he is morally distant from the rest of us across these nations, and the best thing he can do now is go. Resign, Prime Minister.
He's not apologised, Mr. Speaker, for breaking the rules and breaking the law. He's sorry because he's been caught. He is bang to rights. So when my constituents were making unimaginable decisions, he was hosting a boozy party in Downing Street. So how does he think he can still maintain the one rule for him and another for the rest of us? He cannot, and he must resign.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So the Prime Minister didn't spot that he was at a social event. That's the excuse, isn't it? Cut off it. I mean, how stupid does the Prime Minister think the British people are? The worst of it is, he's already managed to completely destroy Allegra Stratton's career. He's tarnished the reputation of Lord Geidt. And now he's making fools of every single MP who cheered him earlier. Every single one who goes out on the radio and television to defend this shower of shenanigans. Would it not be absolutely despicable if, in the search for a scapegoat, some junior member of staff ends up losing their job, but he kept his?
Mr. Speaker, after another shameful week for his government, this has been a shameful attempt to apologise to this House today. So can the Prime Minister explain why the only person to resign so far for this scandal is Allegra Stratton, a woman, while he, the man who sanctioned and attended at least one party in 10 Downing Street, still sits in his place? Mr. Speaker, advisers advise and ministers decide. So will the Prime Minister, for the good of the country, accept that the party is over and decide to resign?
My people, when I don't see him, I want to ask you a question. I said something when I started this video. I am not making this video because of Boris Johnson. I'm not making this video because of the United Kingdom. United Kingdom has gone far. But I'm making this video because of Africa. African countries. The House of Rep members and the senators in your country. Let me use Nigeria as an example. Will they hold your president to account anytime he misbehaves like this? Let me go down to Cameroon. Paul Biya. Can Cameroonian lawmakers hold Paul Biya to account like this in Cameroon? If you had seen your president make a law on this COVID rule and broke the law, will you be able, with the House of Rep member you have voted to power, with the senators you have voted to power, will they be able to hold your president to account? That is why I titled this video, when will Africa ever be able to be holding their political leaders to account? If you misbehave here, the law is the law. No matter who you are, you will face the consequences. Like as Boris Johnson, they face I'm so now. It's not going to be funny. Trust me, it's not going to be funny, I'm telling you. You know, they see people when they come out, say their loved ones die. Old man, I see one old man, they cry. When he hear say Boris Johnson, they do party. In 2020, where the hard time of COVID, when we dey fear, now trailer that they carry dead body, they come out for care home and every place. You host party. You say you don't say you did there. Not with them, they don't go far. Even in this case, just they follow the case. Then go follow them to the end. They don't care who you are. But my problem now is that you that voted a senator in your constituency, you that voted House of Rep member, those people you voted, like for example now in Nigeria, those two houses, House of Senate and House of Rep, will they be able to hold your president, for example, if he misbehaves to account? Is it possible in Africa? Not only Nigeria, don't get it twisted. Any part of Africa, if you know that your lawmakers will be able to hold any superior official, political official, to account like this in your country, drop the comment that they will be able to do it. If you know that they can never do it, drop that comment. Our lawmakers, they are not just paid millions of naira every day to just sit down to say, if you agree, say yeah, yeah. If you refuse, say nay, nay. You are paid to hold anybody that misbehaves into account, including the president. Can your senator, can your House of Rep do this? This is why you see that country, all those African countries, they are still backward. And they remain backward because they are not doing the needful and they are not doing the right thing. Guys, if you love what I'm doing here, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, all Aman Polos. I love you guys. Peace out.